We the People, Unit 4, Lesson 21. The guided questions in this lesson are: 1. What is judicial review? 2. How does judicial review apply to laws passed by state governments? 3. Does the U.S. Supreme Court have the power of judicial review over acts of the federal government? 4. Should the U.S. Supreme Court have the power of judicial review over Congress? 5. Why was Marbury v. Madison such an important case? 6. How does judicial review protect the rights of the people? 7. How might judicial review override the will of the majority? 8. What was the case of Marbury v. Madison? How did the U.S. Supreme Court decide the case? 9. How is each position related to the principles of representative government and majority rule? 10. What effect might each position have on the basic rights of the people? 11. What effect would each position have on protecting the minority from the whims of the majority? These questions will all be answered in the lesson. Even at the beginning, citizens and government officials disputed the meaning of the Constitution. In 1803, it was decided that the U.S. Supreme Court has the power to interpret the Constitution with the power of judicial review. Judicial review is the judiciary's implied power to declare laws unconstitutional. Judicial review is applied to both state laws and federal laws because the U.S. Constitution, according to Article 6, is the supreme law of the land. However, the U.S. Constitution doesn't specifically state that the judicial branch has the power of judicial review over federal acts. But, referring back to 1803, case Marbury v. Madison declared the first federal act unconstitutional. The final decision concluded that the U.S. Constitution overpowers any other law that went against the U.S. Constitution. The court's interpretations must be followed. But, how was the case decided? In the decision, Justice Marshall reasoned that the Judiciary Act of 1789 conflicted with the U.S. Constitution because Congress did not have the right to expand the scope of the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction. As well, Congress didn't have the power to modify the Constitution through regular legislation because the Supreme Clause puts the U.S. Constitution before any other federal law or state constitution. Continuing on, our judiciary is meant to be an independent branch of government to protect the rights of the people. Once elections are around, political parties fight for a spot. Politics involves money and biased ads, usually representing the majority belief or side. Once Senate and House representatives are elected, laws are based off the majority ruling. But what if our judiciary couldn't declare laws unconstitutional? Because the majority ruled on it. It could affect our individual rights on a minority and protecting ourselves from the whims of the majority. For example, in Brown v. Board of Education, the African Americans were protected based on the law, our 14th Amendment. It stopped the legislative and executive from abusing their power and treating others of color differently and unfairly. Concluding, federal judges or justices are prohibited from participating in any form of politics because they may be influenced from the majority belief. As well, that's also a reason for not allowing our federal judges to be elected. Instead, nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate. Hence, the U.S. Supreme Court uses the power of judicial review to protect citizens' rights and the majority's beliefs. It allows them to check if the legislative and executive are abusing their power and are stripping the people of their rights. We did create a government to protect us in the first place, right?